I bet there's no one sitting more comfortably out there at the moment than Arsenal's manager, George Graham. Afternoon, George. The message from White Hart Lane, incidentally, is that Spurs and Forest haven't given up the chase when the going gets tough and all that. Now, I know that you know that, and so do they.
Well, there's half a season left. I mean, what we've already played, we've got again, basically, just short of half a season, and I think that we're going to go hell for leather to see wherever it takes us. We're going to try, if we can, to get in that top 5 or 6, because who knows, if European football comes back next year, our target is to be amongst them. And if we have a great run, and other people, like we said before, there's about 10, 12 teams that have a good run, other people slip up, who knows?
Well, neither side can really afford to lose today, and Forest are on a roll. They've won their last 4. But are they really good enough?
We are good enough.
In what particular departments do you think?
All departments. We've got a very talented side.
And your thoughts on today's game?
Well, I hope it's a good game, obviously, and I hope we win.
I think that he thinks they're good enough, don't you? Well, Spurs have probably got the greater motivation this afternoon in view of their FA Cup defeat at Bradford last week. At least Forest are still involved in the 2 major cup competitions. Now, Terry Venables has dropped goalkeeper Bobby Mims in favour of the Norwegian international Erik Torsved. He makes his debut. He also had a pre-match workout with Ray Clements a little earlier, who's proving so difficult to replace. Well, our commentators today, Trevor Francis, a European Cup winner with Nottingham Forest, of course, and Brian Moore.
Thank you, Elton. Good afternoon, everybody. Torsved in goal then, 51 caps for Norway. You don't pronounce the H in his name, incidentally, taking over, as Elton says, from Bobby Mims. 2 is 19-year-old Guy Butters. 3 is Chris Hughton, who returns after a knee injury to replace Mitchell Thomas. 4 is Terry Fenwick. 5, the former Nottingham Forest defender, Chris Fairclough. 6 is Gary Mabbott, the Tottenham captain. 7 is Paul Walsh. 8 is Gunnar Bergson, the Icelandic international. 9 is Chris Waddle, 10 is Paul Stewart, and number 11 is Paul Allen. Spurs seeking to shake off that cup defeat at Bradford. Maybe striker Paul Stewart will help them out. Here's one of the goals he scored on that snowy surface at Hillsborough, live on ITV. A splendid goal it was. Right, let's check in on the Nottingham Forest side with Steve Sutton in goal. Number 2, Brian Laws, signed in the summer from Middlesbrough. 3 is Stuart Pearce, the skipper. 4, Des Walker, a key defender, recovered from a back injury in midweek. 5 is Terry Wilson. 6, well known to Spurs fans, is Steve Hodge. He had a couple of seasons here. 7 is Franz Carr, the flying winger. 8, the England international, Neil Webb. 9 is Nigel Clough. He returns. He's in because Tommy Gaynor's got a knee injury. 10 is Lee Chapman. And 11 is Gary Parker. Referee is Neil Midgley, waiting to get this game underway. The substitutes, incidentally, Paul Gascoigne and David Howells for Tottenham. Paul Gascoigne had a test on an ankle injury this morning and passed it. And Steve Chettle and Phil Starbuck are the Nottingham Forest substitutes. Forest in the all-red strip lane, attacking the goal to our left. In goes Nigel Clough, and Lee Chapman on his way very quickly, crossing the ball in. Hodge almost in, and the former Forest man, Chris Fairclough, getting it away, but a good and impressive early break there by Forest, and particularly by Lee Chapman. Franz Carr will take the corner for the visitors. Wilson's in there, but it's Fairclough again. Space here, look at it. We're making good use of it. And Parker really should have put that one in. The goalkeeper was left floundering, and Forest really could so easily have been a goal up in the opening minute of this game. Parker now with the corner, flicked on by Lee Chapman, and Spurs are in all sorts of trouble at the back there. The flag is up on the far side as Stuart Pearce puts it in. Really with a vested interest in the events this afternoon. Trevor Francis, my co-commentator, former Nottingham Forest player, who plays, in fact, Forest for his Queen's Park Rangers side in the Littlewoods Cup on Wednesday. An impressive start here by Forest, Trevor, and that really should have been an opening goal.
Yes, I think young Gary Parker was surprised that the keeper missed it, and you know, an early chance that was for Nottingham Forest.
Fenwick. Spurs, with their confidence, one would imagine a little bit in tatters after that defeat at Bradford, could ill have afforded the loss of a goal here. But here's Bergson, the Icelandic player. Some good work by Waddle leading up to that. And a really lively start to this game. Paul Allen now for Tottenham. Over the years, they are respected for the way they like to play the game, these two clubs. And most people here anticipating a good, open and exciting game. Borne out certainly by the opening couple of minutes. Paul Stewart. Now Terry Wilson, the young Scot, slotting into the central defensive position there with Colin Foster still out injured. Here's Webb, and we would expect to see having a big influence in that midfield this afternoon. And certainly in the combination that he's already building up with Nigel Clough. Here's Houghton. Webb is there. Interesting to hear Terry Venables talking about Spurs seeking a place in the top 5. You never know if European football comes back. In fact, Forest, if they win today, go up into the top 6. I mean, it really has been such a topsy-turvy season that you don't rule out anything at the moment. Having a quiet cautionary word while we wait for that throw with Paul Stewart. He was just a little too vigorous in a challenge on Terry Wilson. It's Fennick. Webb's header guided down for Brian Laws. Webb again. This Carr. Passed into Parker. And Bergson getting back in quickly. The Icelandic player has shown Spurs fans already that he has a tremendous amount of pace, and he needed it to get in there when Parker looked in a good position. Stuart Pearce. Fairclough. Waddle. Fennick. Mavitt. This looks better for Tottenham. Waddle's shots way off the target. Scorer of 7 goals this season. Trevor Francis.
Yes, I was interested in Brian Clough's comments before the game that he still feels that Forest could win the title. And looking at the way they've started, obviously they're going for 3 points the other day at White Hart Lane.
They're in good form at the moment. They've won their last 4 games. Beaten Sheffield Wednesday, Everton, Ipswich in the FA Cup, and Chelsea in the Simod Cup, all those coming after a defeat at Old Trafford on Boxing Day. Webb. Clough won't get to it. Waddle will. Stewart's on ahead of him. Enjoying this bit of freedom, and Walsh has gone into the middle, but Walker so effective at the back for Nottingham Forest. They've gone to close down the danger. Tottenham's throw with Waddle. Waddle. Free kick to Tottenham. See that Forest penalty area now very heavily populated. Plenty of red shirts back. As Waddle now prepares to take this free kick. Met by Webb. Up goes Carr. Paul Allen playing it wide to Fennick, who played in the free kick in the first place. Houghton, the only one who's left back. And a goal kick. Seeing that Forest have had a good run. Spurs less impressive, having lost their last 2. A at Arsenal, and the cup tie away to Bradford City. As Chris Hughton was saying to me yesterday, after that very disappointing defeat at Bradford, in a way they're lucky to have such a high-profile game to come back to, because if they do well here, everybody can see that they're back in business. Webb getting Carr away, who can really fly down that wing. Hughton's got back to mark him and does it well. Chapman. Seeing these two sides out here brings memory of the first live league game that we had on ITV back in October 1983. And only 3 survivors on the field from the sides who played that day. And if you can have a guess who they are, well, we just look at this. Carr now playing it in for Parker. He's got him behind them, and the shot comes off the post. And Finnick puts it behind. It's a real torrid time in that goal for Erik Thorstvedt at the moment. A great shot by Parker coming back off the woodwork. And Forest so unlucky now not to be 2 up. Keeper beaten to the wide. Both the chances falling to Parker, one that he really should have put away early on. So if you just joined us with about 8 minutes gone, it's still 0-0. Carr playing that one in. And a tremendous goal there. No, disallowed Brian Laws. There was an offside. That would have been his first goal for Forest, and struck beautifully. But the linesman had spotted an offside, and Forest are unlucky. Ball knocked out there to the number 2 Laws. Yes, and you can see the referee and linesman exactly right. There was a red shirt beyond the last defender. Free kick to Forest. It's a really impressive start this by them, Trevor.
Yes, actually, just looking at that decision there, I think that's the most controversial decision in football, that whether it is offside or not, or whether it's interfering with play. You know, I think if I'd hit a ball like that as well as what Lowe's did, I'd have been disappointed if it had been disallowed.
I think the referee would say that the red shirt was maybe within the goalkeeper's eye line. It could have been an off-putting factor, but nonetheless, it's been given as offside, and it's still 0-0. Repeating that old saying that a famous old manager from here, Bill Nicholson, always used to say, well, if they're not interfering with play, what are they doing on the field? Challenge there by Pearce, the skipper. Bergson with the throw for Tottenham. Laws with a header. Up goes Waddle. Against Carr. Holding off Mabbott. And at the moment, Waddle down, taking a little bit of a knock on the side of his head by the look of it. Chapman. They're playing it through to Hodge in a very advanced position, and now finding Carr. That little flurry of excitement, I mentioned that there were 3 players who played back in '83 who are here today. Well, the man with the ball there at the moment is one of them, Chris Hughton. Gary Mabbott was another one for Tottenham, and Steve Hodge played for Nottingham Forest that day, and well, of course, went to Aston Villa and then had that couple of seasons here at Tottenham. So Hughton, Mabbott and Hodge. And since then, Spurs have had 4 managers. Keith Birkinshaw was the manager then, now at Gillingham. Followed by Peter Shreve, who's now with Trevor at QPR. And then David Pleat at Leicester. And Terry Venables now. And of course, Brian Clough was manager then for Nottingham Forest. Indeed, he has been since way back in 1975. And I think he's enjoying it enough for it to go on for a few more years yet. Archie Gemmell just on the left of the picture there, you saw. And then the Tottenham bench. Trevor Francis.
Yes, it's the first time I've seen the Icelandic boy, Bergson, playing here today, but he's got to be very aware of his defensive duties, because in the first 10 minutes, that's 3 times when Gary Parker's got in behind him, and in fact, he could have scored a couple of goals, couldn't he?
Yes, so we need to watch Bergson, the number 8. Chased by Hodge and dispossessed by him. Good play there by Steve Hodge. And Parker playing it in, but well stopped by Fennick. Abbott. Stopped by Wilson. Having much the better of these early exchanges to Forest. Abbott again. Now Waddle. Stewart has branched off to one side of him. Walsh has made a little darting run as well, while Waddle contemplated that. He was dispossessed by Webb, and here's Wilson. Fennick to Guy Butters. Paul Allen. Butters again. Walsh. Oh, that's a lovely bit of play. Sweeping past Webb. Finding Waddle. Now Houghton. Walsh again. Walker's there, though. Seen the best of seasons for Paul Walsh. He's only scored a couple. It's a really bleak and blustery afternoon now. Webb. Carr. Flash back to Walker. Yes. Webb. Lovely ball played for the fullback, who carried on with his run. Needed pulling back a little bit for the on-rushing Lee Chapman, and it'll be a corner. Spurs just, or rather a goal kick. Spurs just can't get into their stride at the moment, Trevor.
No, they're playing with a sweeper at the back there, and you know, at times it looks all a little bit too intricate, doesn't it? You know, in contrast, we've got Nottingham Forest playing their familiar way with 4 across the back, 4 in midfield, and 2 boys up front. They play the same way all the time, and it's a very, very effective way.
Carr. Fennick, the sweeper. Spurs one of the few British clubs playing that style of play. Waddle. Yet it can be so effective and help so much towards an attacking game as well, if the sweeper plays the right way. It's a quarter of an hour gone here at White Hart Lane. 0-0 the score. Forest have had the ball in the net, but it was disallowed. They might have had at least one other one, and have hit the crossbar as well. Stewart, a big busters forward of the old-fashioned school. Pearce getting it away. Allen now feeding Bergson. Waddle turning it back. Walker doing some emergency action there for Nottingham Forest as the ball looked likely to fall invitingly for Stewart. Free kick to Forest. Here's Pearce. Butters. Now Clough. Tease a mistake out of Fairclough. Sweeper Fennick was there, but only as far as Pearce, who's got it back again this time from Parker. And a goal kick. So Torsvett, 26 years old, played in Stavanger, in Norway, then had a little spell in the West German First Division at Borussia Mönchengladbach, and arrived here from Gothenburg this week. He was a player brought up on English football that he watched on TV from a way back. He was telling me that in his school days he used to swap football cards, one Alan Gilzine, as he said, for one Alan Hudson. And has known Ray Clements since Clem used to go out there and do coaching every summer, about the last 8 years. Houghton getting him back to it, or back the ball back to Torsvedt. Fennick. Wilson up well. Support here from Pearce. Played on for Chapman. Now Allen. Wobble. Turning Hodge one way, then the other. Then finds a bit of space, and then inexplicably plays it straight to the Forest player, and here comes Carr. And he showed too much of that to Fairclough. Free kick to Nottingham Forest. The foul on Nigel Clough. Putting that one away. You've got good memories of your days at Forest. Mr. Clough bought you for £1 million, didn't he?
That's right, yes. 2.5 years, happy years, and then sold me for 1,100,000. Always makes a profit, Brian, doesn't it?
Waddle pushed away well by Sutton. First real effective strike that Tottenham have had, and Waddle, who's always looked the likeliest of their characters, was the man who got into the good scoring position. A terrific right foot shot, Sutton just pushing it away and happy to do so.
I think it's very important for Spurs today that Chris Waddle has a good day, because he is undoubtedly the most influential player in the side. He's had a very, very good season playing alongside Paul Gascoigne. I'm just wondering how much he's going to suffer today with the loss of Paul Gascoigne.
He suffered a bit there with a challenge from Steve Hodge. Gascoigne, one of the two Tottenham substitutes, after having some pretty unpleasant ankle ligament trouble. Now Houghton. Stopped though by Laws. Houghton. Here's Waddle. Cutting inside. A lovely little flick there for Stewart. What's the cross like? Not good enough. Stopped by Walker. Stewart again for Tottenham. Waddle. Looking to get to the byline, gets a cross in. They were all up for that one. And once again, Forest were equal to it in defence, conceding the corner. Tottenham's first of the game. 21 minutes gone, no score here at White Hart Lane. Waddle with that corner. Stewart poised. Fairclough's in there too. Wasn't the best of corners, but it comes to Fennick. Nigel Clough got back quickly to hold him up. Fennick. Allen. Miscue there by Laws. Pearce kept it in. Only for Fairclough now to set it up again for Tottenham. Nobody there in the red shirt. Next long ball. It might fall for Walsh. Good last-ditch action there, though, by Terry Wilson for Nottingham Forest. Here's Nigel Clough. It's with Franz Carr. Slipping past one, but not past Houghton for the second time. Webb finding Carr. That was up. Torsford's had a fairly hectic opening 20 minutes. A lot of action around his goal. Walker. So we reached the halfway stage in the first half. Tottenham Hotspur 0, Nottingham Forest 0 in this match in the Barclays First Division. Bergson. This one, and Pierce with him. Foul by Paul Stewart on the Nottingham Forest captain. It'll be a free kick to Forest. And recently have had quite a good run here. They drew here last season and won 3-0 up at the City Ground and won home and away against Spurs in the previous season. Walker, who looks class. Wilson. Chapman. Another free kick to Forest. Another free kick to Forest. Foul by Fairclough on Clough. Fairclough failed to get back to full 10 yards, and so the free kick will be taken again. This time by Neil Webb. Pierce has gone forwards. Good handling by the Norwegian. Bergson. Stewart. No beating about the bush. It hasn't taken off yet, Trevor.
No, it hasn't. Excuse me, but you know, we've had one disallowed goal. We've hit one shot hit the crossbar. I think you know, with Terry Venables and also Brian Clough as managers, you're always going to get entertaining football though, because they both do believe in playing good open football.
Fairclough's throw for Tottenham. Pierce's header away into the path of Mavitt. Walsh went into trouble there. Now Gary Parker. Oh, a lovely ball. Chapman now faced with the goalkeeper and the Spurs defence wide open, and he's missed it. Oh, that was a terrible miss. But also big question marks against that Tottenham defence. Look at that as being wide open, and he delayed it just too long. And another glorious chance has gone spinning away for Nottingham Forest. This is the camera on the other side of the field giving a different angle, but the same result. Over Francis.
Well, it was a bad miss, but Tottenham are playing with a sweeper, and you have to ask the question, where was he?
Exactly. Terry Fenwick's back in position now, but it was a delightful ball played in by young Gary Parker. Now Allen. Walsh. Wilson. Parker. Used to be at Luton Town and then Hull City. Here he is finding Webb. Parker again. Now this time Webb's offside. It's hard to see how Spurs could be carved so wide open, as you say, with Fenwick as their sweeper, with Butters and Fairclough playing just ahead of him, and Bergson and Houghton away on the flanks. They're certainly defending in numbers, Trevor.
Got enough men back, yes, but it's the midfield players from Nottingham Forest who are making the runs forward and not being tracked down.
So you'll watch for the likes of Webb and Parker. The Spurs now take this free kick. Waddle and Fenwick behind it. It's going to be Waddle floating it in. Butters on the far side. Stewart turning it back. Walsh almost getting in. Paul Allen trying to as well. And Bergson having a shot charged down right at the last there by Stuart Pearce. His smile would have been even broader if that had been tucked in for his first goal in English football. The Forest defence really at full stretch there, as our camera behind this goal will show. And at the end, a really good and timely challenge there by Pearce. Trying to get Stewart away. Terry Wilson there for Forest. Wilson. Certainly get the impression there might be a goal or two here this afternoon.
I think that the Icelandic boy Bergson will be a bit disappointed missing that chance there, Brian. It wasn't exactly as cold as ice there in front of goal, was he?
He wasn't, was he? But he's got great promise. He's got one or two raw edges. I think Spurs will realise that. But he's got a lot of pace and a fair degree of skill. I'll remind you about our goals package at half-time. 29 of them this week. Most we've ever had, including Arsenal's win at Everton, of course. 3 goals by Manchester United, another 3 by Charlton. A victory for Coventry at Norwich, and an absolutely stunning goal from Liam Brady for West Ham. All at half-time. Here's Nigel Clough with the free kick. Can Hodge get in on this one? It's Wilson right in there, and an excellent piece of goalkeeping right on his line by Torsvet. But a very well-worked free kick by Forest. With Hodge playing his part here, Wilson just ducking in with the header there, and the goalkeeper pouncing on it. Now Allen bringing it away. Pearce gets it back to Steve Sutton. Up goes Chapman, whiz it in the air. Clough can't collect because it's with Terry Fenwick. Walsh. From Stewart, Paul Allen, and Waddle! Now Stewart! 2 great pieces of goalkeeping, and 3 by Steve Sutton. What fabulous keeping there. And the crowd were applauding both the Spurs players and that incredible piece of work by the Nottingham Forest goalkeeper. Paul Allen here plays the ball for Waddle. And now Stewart looks as though he might have a go. And Sutton refused to be beaten. Still 0-0. And now it's really warming up. Here's Bergson now for Tottenham. A deep cross, too deep, and a goal kick. Steve Sutton seems to save his best for live TV. Remember, he saved a penalty against Arsenal live on TV earlier this season. 27 years old. I think on the side only Lee Chapman at 28 is older. Hodge trying to get Webb away, and now it's really beginning to open up. Webb playing it in. Chapman couldn't gather. And Brian Laws, a little flick on. And Parker, it's in there! Gary Parker for Nottingham Forest. After they threatened 2 or 3 times to get the ball into the Tottenham net, and Parker uppermost amongst them. Shot on the turn, Trevor Francis.
Well, it came from the point that I was making about 20 minutes ago. Bergson is not aware of players coming in from behind, and we saw 3 occasions when Parker got in early on in the game, and once again there, he got in behind him on the blind side, and you know, deservedly put Forest into the lead.
As you say, deservedly, they'd had much the better of that opening half hour, but how ironic when Spurs had threatened so hard, and but for Sutton would have been ahead. Within a minute or so, Spurs find themselves behind. Here's Webb. Pierce. Webb again. Now Nigel Clough. Long-range shot! Through the keeper's arms! A terrible mistake by Torsvedt, and it's 2-0. Well, that's a nightmare start for the Norwegian. That fell almost gently through his arms. Nigel Clough. A real howler. And Forest go 2 ahead. So 2 goals in the space of a minute there for Nottingham Forest. And a tough debut now for the Norwegian international Erik Torsvedt. Parker 32, Clough 33. Steve Hodge. And now Pierce. Time it was deflected. Forest corner. Trevor Francis.
Yes, we're Tottenham now. We've got about 10 minutes before half-time, and it's very, very important now that they don't fold. They've got to stick in there and keep it to 2-0, because if they go another goal down now, 3-0, the game will be beyond them.
Parker with a corner for Forest, a flick on. Tough for the keeper there.
Well, it doesn't need for me to comment. You can't help but feel sorry for a keeper when he makes a mistake like that.
Hodge finding Parker. Oh! Well, Webb was nearly in for the 3rd, and that time Torsvedt was rooted to his line. Well, that'll be amazing to see this again. You'll see the goalkeeper stops absolutely rooted there. And that was so nearly number 3. And Tottenham's misery piles up. Easily by Parker. There's Carr on the far side. A delightful ball there by Parker for him. Now has he got a trick to beat Houghton? Oh, that time the keeper saved. Forest are rampant at the moment. Hodge, Parker, Pierce wants a bit of the action. Hodge, the flag is up. He got well to it and pushed it away. From Francois. Newton with the free kick for a shocked Tottenham. getting nicely into their stride now, beginning to look a really classy side. That time caught offside though, Webb. Began to think things were going right for him before the cup tie defeat at Bradford. And then he realises there is a lot of work still to be done. Good ball there by Chapman, and here's Carr. Parker's waiting in the middle. He's pulled it back behind Lee Chapman, and Allen gets the chance to drag it away now for Tottenham. Things for sure, we shall see Paul Gascoigne on the field before the afternoon's over. Chapman, nicely played inside for Webb. Hodges gone ahead of him, and then just pulled back in order not to get offside as Webb released that ball. On his way. Defending well though, Forest, getting quickly in on their challenges. And Gascoigne, I suppose, on the left of the picture, David Howells, the other substitute, just getting up to do a bit of warming up. This is Gascoigne. It may be no more than just keeping warm on a cold afternoon, but I think before very long we shall see them in action, certainly Gascoigne. Here's Waddle. Walsh is waiting in there, but that won't reach him.
Just looking at Spurs as they break out of defence there, they're always a man short in midfield and up front. That's because playing with a sweeper, they've got two markers, and also the two full-backs are staying at the back, so there's five at the back. That's the problem they're having.
Yes, now.
Just looking at Chris Waddle when he went forward with the ball, he was looking for options, and there weren't too many open for him.
Pick on by Paul Allen. Paul Stewart trying to shake off Walker. Might succeed in doing so, but he can't beat Sutton. Referee looked hard at that, but I think he's absolutely right. It was 6 for one, half a dozen of the other. There was Walker holding on to Stewart, and Stewart holding on to Walker. And here's Waddle, looking to get free. He gets a corner off Stewart Crooks. Waddle with the corner, Butts has gone forward to the near post. Gregson, Webb. Now Waddle. Staying up there, Abbott's kick is away over the crossbar. Inside the last 5 minutes, Spurs with quite a, just to call a stiff breeze behind them. Free kick to Tottenham. It's Flick. Flick again. He's turned there by Paul Allen. Walsh, will Allen go all the way? He's taken it too wide. Abbott trying to get in there. Kicked away there by Steve Hodge. Terrific shot by Mabbott. Looked as though it at least pulled one back, and still Hodge intervened. But Tottenham get a corner. Parker gently lobs it away to Carr. Here's Webb now, taking it in his stride. And there are two men free on this side of the field. Chapman offside though against Parker.
To those Spurs fans who are sat at home by the fireside and not here at White Hart Lane, the only words of comfort I can add is that I remember about 3 months back when QPR played here, a similar type of game. We went in at half-time, 2-0 up, and they had a tremendous fight back, Spurs, in the second half, and we were lucky to hang on for a 2-2 draw.
Well, we shall look to see if that repeats itself, certainly, Trevor. But 2-0 up for Forest, and well worth it at the moment. Nigel Clough. Chastening thought for you, though, that you have to play them in the Littlewoods Cup on Wednesday night up in Nottingham.
Yes, they're obviously in very good form, and at the moment one of the best teams in the First Division.
A free kick to Forest.
But no two games are the same, Brian.
That's true. Not in this funny old season, anyhow. To Nigel Clough. This could be another one. No, that time the shot was safely saved by Torsvet. Level. A really elementary mistake there by Chris Fairclough. Dispossessed on the edge of his own penalty area by the opposing number 9. Playing it to Hodge, playing it to Webb. Forest look as though they're enjoying themselves. Laws, Webb. And a goal. Inside the last minute of the first half now. Quick first half summing up, Trevor?
Well, it's an understatement to say that Forest have deserved to be 2-0 up, but you know, Spurs have had their moments at the other end. Chris Waddle's had a couple of good opportunities, and Mabbott had one kicked off the line earlier on. So it's not completely over yet for Spurs. But really, Forest are finding an enormous amount of room in midfield.
Bergson. Cross is not a bad one. Met by Wilson. Played in. They claim handball. The referee is pointing to his chest and says, no way is that a penalty.
Well, I'd certainly like to see that again, Brian, if we could.
What do you think?
What do I think? Well,
it looked a bit like the old handball there.
I think I'd have to agree with the Spurs players on that one.
Gorse waiting in the middle. Waddle's in there! A thundering header there from Chris Waddle. Great work by Paul Allen. And that's put Spurs back in it. Waddle suddenly arriving on the scene there with a really firm header. Sutton beaten at last. Spurs 1, Nottingham Forest 2. Good cross. Terrific header by Waddle.
Just the fillip that Spurs needed just before half-time. Great cross by Paul Allen, but I was very interested in the run that Chris Waddle made. Started his run from the 18-yard line and a great header.
Arrived very late indeed and has really set up the second half now. Half-time then here. Spurs 1, Nottingham Forest 2. Brian Clough's got a few words with somebody there. Let's have a few words now from Milton.
Just delighted to be here, Brian. Just delighted to be here. Well, after the break, the 29 First Division goals from yesterday, that's the most we've ever had, actually. Some magnificent performances, too, most notably Arsenal's 3-1 win at Everton, Manchester United's going well, Fergie's fledglings. A simply marvellous goal by Coventry's David Speedie at Norwich, rivalling Liam Brady's for West Ham as the best of the lot. An exquisite curler from Chippy. We'll be back.
Well, we apologise. We'll be returning to the match in just a moment.
White Hart Lane there. Well, 8 of the 9 First Division games yesterday produced 3 or more goals. Splendid entertainment up and down the country, starting on Merseyside with Martin Tyler.
George Graham won't thank me for saying it, but Arsenal looked championship class at Goodison Park. Paul Merson really on a roll in front of goal, his 6th in his last 7 games. David Rocastle was the instigator, just as he was again 7 minutes later. Alan Smith with a splendid header, number 17 for Alan. But surely the happiest Arsenal player at this latest significant win, Kevin Richardson, the scorer of the 3rd. Richardson knows what it takes to win a championship. He did it with Everton in 1985. Their only goal yesterday came when Dave Watson headed on the last Everton touch from substitute Neil MacDonald. Referee Keith Hackett ruled it had crossed the line.
Derby got off to a lightning start. 54 seconds gone. Dean Saunders first for 7 games. Derby have got the best defensive record in the First Division, but they've been leaking 1 or 2 untidy goals recently. Curious decision that by Shilton. David Kelly's header. I'll let John Lyle provide the words to describe Liam Brady's winner. An illustrious goal from an illustrious player. Liam was over the moon.
After Coventry's cup crash at Sutton, more problems at Carrow Road. Dale Gordon on target for second-place Norwich City after 56 minutes. A David Smith corner started the recovery. Reinstated captain Brian Kilcline heading down. His deputy David Speedie tucking in the equaliser, his 11th of the season. And in the very last minute, from Cyril Regis's through pass, Speedie produced an exquisite lob to win the game. What character from Coventry after that cup-tie catastrophe.
Both these clubs had lost their previous 2 in the league. A penalty there, Kenny Wharton brought down. Mirandinha's 2nd spot kick of the week. But from that moment, the character Villa showed at Crewe last week was in evidence again. Terrible mistake there. Andy Gray gliding through, a little feint, and into the corner. Villa began to pull away in the second half. Tony Daly clear, and a tidy 1-1 finish. They wrapped it up with Alan McInally's 21st of the season. The hard work was done by Ian Olney. McInally reading the play perfectly.
Clayton Blackmore fired the youthful Manchester United into a 13th minute lead against Millwall at Old Trafford. Brian Robson's number 7 shirt, again worn by 20-year-old Tony Gill. The captain himself would have been proud of Gill's 2nd goal in 4 days. A constant thread through an ever-changing United side. Mark Hughes, his customary strike, arrived 17 minutes from time, and United are up to 6th.
Without a win in 10 and with only 1 home win all season, Charlton's form was a revelation, particularly in the first half. Paul Mortimer after 12 minutes. Their diminutive attack of Garth Crooks and Paul Williams exposed the flaws at the back for Luton. Crooks neatly with the 2nd. 10 minutes later, Paul Williams confirmed his recovery from injury with his 12th of the season, again set up very tidily by Crooks. Luton's manager Ray Harford says we're a different side at home. Well, we all know the reason for that.
2 excellent set pieces gave Sheffield Wednesday a flying start against Liverpool. Headers here from Colin West, then Imre Varadi, and finally Mark Proctor just over the line. Then a corner from Wilf Rostron on his Wednesday debut. West flicking on, and Varady pouncing. Wednesday 2 up after 14 minutes, and on their way, it seemed, to a first home win over Liverpool since 1964. Steve Nicol, though, had other ideas as Liverpool totally dominated the second half. The equaliser was certainly on the cards, and it arrived when Ray Houghton clipped a perfect cross for substitute John Aldridge.
Southampton chalked up their 20th home league goal after just 15 minutes. No other First Division side can beat that. Kevin Moore. But they've gone 9 without a win, and to say they're susceptible at the other end is an understatement. On the out, Middlesbrough's Paul Kerr. Borough have quite the worst away record in Division 1. At least they did. Bernie Slaven's 8th of the season. 10 minutes from the end, Southampton conceded their 40th league goal of the campaign, their 18th in the last 5 games. A beauty by Mark Burke for Borough. But the match ended on a sour note for Middlesbrough. Peter Davenport roughly challenged from behind by Wallace. Davenport's reaction rather silly, out of character, and instantly regretted. But off you go.
Wimbledon are now one of the First Division's in-form teams. Queen's Park Rangers had knocked them out of the Littlewoods Cup last month. Defender John Scales exacted revenge after 28 minutes. Rangers relying on their younger players because of injuries, and one of them, Brian Law, clashing with Terry Gibson. At the outset, it seemed nothing too serious, despite the reactions, but Law had been booked already. And John Martin showed him the red card, though even Gibson sprang to his defence.
Well, very unfortunate that, wasn't it? Much ado about nothing. But what a super goal by Liam Brady. What a marvellous week he's had. Well, we've got the second half at White Hart Lane coming up, but right after the break, Ray Clements with Martin Tyler. We'll be back.
Welcome back to White Hart Lane. They've just started the second half here, remembering that Spurs have got back into it, but still 1-2 down to Nottingham Forest. Spurs now in the wide, attacking the goal to our left. Stewart. On the far side now to Bergson. Goal just before half-time, certainly should have given Spurs a lift. They've got a corner now. Bobby, the man who scored the goal, about to take the corner. They've got Walsh, big Guy Butters, the 19-year-old who's 6'3". Paul Stewart's in there too. Mabbott, Fenwick and Fairclough, 3 big defenders lined up on the edge of the penalty area as well. Waddle then with the corner for Tottenham, but met by Parker for Nottingham Forest. Webb. Now Laws. Chapman. Now for Forest. Roger Clough. Free kick conceded by Chris Houghton. Having committed the free kick, he's reluctant to go back 10 yards. Now Laws for Nottingham Forest. And the keeper held that one. Now to Tottenham. Terry Fenwick with it. Only Walsh is up. Walker coming across quickly for Forest. Fenwick. Houghton. Walsh. Throw for Tottenham. Wilson gets it away for Nottingham Forest. Houghton. And Stewart met it with his head, just wide of that Forest post. Come out looking a revived side, Trevor.
Yes, that was a magnificent ball from Chris Waddle. Difficult ball for the keeper to handle because it was curling away from him all the time.
And Stewart meeting it without a great deal of conviction, but nonetheless it just went wide of that post. Forest leading by 2-1. Bergson with the throw for Tottenham. Free kick to Forest. Hodge. Flattened by Mabbott. Play on, said the referee. There's Walker. There's Hodge. Glorious ball played by Nigel Clough, which presents Tottenham with a throw. The second pass was better than the first. Trying to get Bergson away on that far side, but he's being watched by Parker. Now Pearce, Hodge, and goes Pearce again. Carr getting in as well. Chapman. Now Laws. Webb. Franz Carr. Forest throw. Little flick that takes him inside the full-back, and now he's on his way. The flick that reaches Stewart, not quite, because Laws have come back quickly for Nottingham Forest. But there's such a touch about Waddle. Fairclough in. Every time this man gets the ball. And at the moment it's with Hodge for Nottingham Forest. Yes, good strike of a ball, but just curling wide there. Stewart. It was Butters with the long ball forward. Walsh is chasing it more in hope than anything else. Heavily outnumbered 3-1. Chapman. Now Clough. There's Laws. Webb losing it to Mabbott. Now Waddle again. There's the ball for Stewart. Wilson's after him. Stewart now for Tottenham. And in the end it was Walker. Quicker than anybody to get back in there. Splendid young defender.
Good covering that from Walker. He read the danger very well and used his pace to come over and stop young Stewart. Good challenge.
Very good challenge there by Des Walker, but a corner then for Tottenham, which Waddle will take. Deep towards Butters and Fairclough. Fenwick. Charged down by Parker. Fenwick will get another chance though. That time it was charged down by Walker. And here's Carr now for Nottingham Forest. A really fine open game now. Ball for Parker on the far side. Clough is up as well. And the flag up for offside. Play on, said the referee, because Spurs firmly in possession with Paul Allen. Walsh has gone wide for him. Stewart's through the middle. Here's Waddle. And then for Walsh. Came off Hodge. Walsh will get another chance. And Pearce guiding it down for Gary Parker to bring it away for Nottingham Forest now. Webb. Carr. Pass for Clough, and Clough had not made a move forward. So it'll be Bergson again for Tottenham, back to Torsfet. And a bit of warming going up in the Spurs tunnel, I think by Paul Gascoigne. In the meantime, it's with Chris Waddle. Into Finnick. Bergson. Spurs keeping a bit of pressure on Forest now. Allen seeking to get to the byline, but has won a corner. Happy to let it go over. Gascoigne doing some more warming up. No immediate sign at the moment of him coming on. But he's certainly another trump that Terry Venables will be waiting to play. The Spurs still 2-1 down. Waddle with this corner. Abbott's going in there, but he didn't get a touch. Stewart's going in there with a header, and he's put it wide. Neil Webb. Steve Hodge for Nottingham Forest. Chapman's gone up ahead. Taken by the keeper. Stewart, a big, powerful man, but Wilson stuck with him well. And the ball thrown out almost in one movement by Steve Sutton for Stuart Pearce. There's Hodge. Oh, offside for him. Through a dull spell in the first half when it was no great shakes, but it's certainly livened up now, looking very, very interesting, Trevor Francis.
Yes, there's so much space out there for the players to actually play that there's no way this game's going to stay 2-1, Brian.
In the distance you can see the Spurs substitutes, Paul Gascoigne and David Howe warming up. Parker with a throw for Forest. Hodge. Laid in for Webb. Now Walsh. Trying to get it through for Stewart. They claim a handball. The referee is pointing to his knee. He said no, it certainly wasn't a handball, but that's a foul on will by Stewart and a free kick for Nottingham Forest. Offside. Gascoigne beginning to strip off. He said to me before the start, if I get on, I shall score twice, which is exactly what Spurs need at the moment. 2-1 down. And here's Stewart. Walker brought down, that's a free kick. Been very impressed with Des Walker this afternoon for Nottingham Forest, Trevor.
Yes, he reminds me so much of the boy that I've got playing with me, Paul Parker. Both of them have got great assets, both very, very quick. I would think that the two of them are candidates for a place in the England side, without doubt.
Notice it says Enfield born there. My belief was that he was born in Hackney, and you know, that's very much a Tottenham catchment area, and that Tottenham would have been a bit disappointed at missing out on him. Now Laws. Played in towards Webb, and Bergson had got back. And again, a good break from the midfield from Nottingham Forest, this time from Neil Webb. It threatened all sorts of dangers to Tottenham Hotspur. Now they face this corner, taken by Franz Carr. Keeper didn't really get to it. And it's hacked away that time by Waddle. Webb playing it through, and Hodge offside. Gascoigne's coming on. It's Chris Houghton who's going off. They're taking off the defender and hoping that Gascoigne can now jazz things up a little bit for Tottenham. Through the midfield and up front. Just listen to the roar of applause he's getting. He's missed 3 games with ankle ligament trouble and has got a really nasty scar on his right shin as well, which he received in training this week. Now let's see what he can do. A free kick to Nottingham Forest.
Well, Terry Venables certainly had to take a defender off to gamble a little bit by bringing on Gascoigne. But the man he's put on Franz Carr is Gary Mabbutt, and he's got a difficult task because, as we all know, Franz Carr is very, very quick.
Yes, Mabbutt has now switched to Houghton's position at left back. A shot by Pearce on Walsh, a free kick to Tottenham. Quarter of an hour of the second half gone. Still Spurs 1, Nottingham Forest 2. Gascoigne now. Waddle playing it in. Pearce. Chapman getting Parker away. Clough going through the middle. Carr coming up, and so too is Webb. And the keeper was there, clashing with Nigel Clough. And his throw reaches Waddle. Clough's all right. A little bit shaken. Gets it away to Webb. Now Carr. Gascoigne. It's the first real touch we've seen, and an impressive one it was. Looking for it, back again, slides it beautifully out for Bergson, who's well stopped by Stuart Pearce. Given the Spurs fans fresh heart anyhow. Waddle playing it for Bergson. The cross comes in towards Finnick. It was Stewart's header. Butters. goes Law, Tottenham's throw. Walsh. Bergson on the far side. Waddle. Allen. Change of direction, the ball coming off Pearce for another Tottenham corner. And Forest really being forced back now. They'll be furious with themselves if they concede another one, because they look to be steaming away with it for so long in that first half, 2-0 up, and it could have been 3 or 4. Not a very good corner, but it comes to Waddle, driven with great power, but straight at a Forest defender. 1 against 1 up here now, and Mabbott calmly back to his goalkeeper, Eric Torsford. Gascoigne. Followed by Clough. Free kick to Spurs. Fennick with the kick. Kick again, the foul that time on Walker by Walsh.
The emphasis is obviously on Spurs to come forward, and they've certainly stepped it up a gear, but they do have to be careful, because all Brian Clough's sides are very, very dangerous on the break.
Gascoigne. Hodge. Stopped by Fennick. Gascoigne away. Holding off Webb. It's Stewart, but Webb stuck to it. Who do you see as the key players on those breaks from midfield? Neil Webb, for example?
Neil Webb and also Franz Carr.
In goes Wilson. Stuck to his job well as a central defender today. Fennick switching it wide to Bergson. Now Paul Allen. Oh, he's gone past Hodge. Now Walsh. And Pearce will get it away. Coming towards the halfway stage in this second half, you're feeling that there's an awful lot of football left in this game yet. Forest still leading by 2 goals to 1. It's with Waddle. Bergson. It's a better looking cross. Now Carr. Chance to break away with Clough. Webb. Laws. Webb again, looking for Chapman, but Chapman was well guarded at that moment by Fennick. Instead it's with Franz Carr. And flicked wide by Parker for the goal kick. First stage of the second half. Chris Waddle for Tottenham, Parker and Clough for Nottingham Forest. He's an irrepressible character, this Paul Gascoigne, as Newcastle fans will well know. Came down here for 2 millions. Pearce. Good header that reaches Gary Parker. And now Steve Hodge for Nottingham Forest. Forest looking for that third goal that will give them the cushion that you feel at the moment they may need. Gascoigne has only been on about 5 minutes. I think he's going to get a yellow card. For the foul on Steve Hodge. Just there. Free kick to Forest. Laws. Oh, the keeper got down. Oh, to push that one away. It's a corner. Clough, nice little touch. Carr. Wilson up there from the back. The risk it on. Walker's header. Laws for Forest. Chasing that one, and Butler's going with him. Very shortly to bring on David Howells, their second substitute. At the moment it's Fairclough getting it away. Walsh. Now Stewart. Waddle's made a great break. In there, well taken by Sutton. Terrific work again by Waddle. Really strong arresting run there, and once more finishing up with a good cross. And Walsh couldn't quite meet it. Sutton was there first. Play on. It's Parker. Deflected. Wilson caught off balance. Stewart. First hint of danger. There's plenty of red shirts get back, Trevor Francis.
Yes, they do defend in numbers, and they defend well. Not only do the back four, but also the midfield players all come back in. And what they do actually is when they attack in numbers and they defend in numbers, and that's the correct way to play.
Clough's header for Nottingham Forest. Terry Fenwick. Soon to come on. As yet we can't tell you who's going to be coming off. The feeling is it might well be Paul Walsh. In the meantime, Fairclough having a good battle there with Nigel Clough and winning it. Fenwick playing it forward towards Paul Stewart. Touchdown for Gascoigne. Webb. Matters. Gives Spurs the chance to bring on their second substitute. Indeed, it is Paul Walsh who's going off. And David Howells comes on. 21-year-old front man. He scored just one this season. And Forest, in the meantime, looking for some treatment. For one of their players, it's Terry Wilson. This is the first time that the trainer's been on today. This is the former Forest player, Liam O'Kane. What do you think Brian Clough's reaction to getting that goal down, or at least losing that goal just before half-time, Trevor. And really, they should have been so comfortably placed.
I can imagine he was fuming, because whenever I played for Brian, he always stressed the importance of not conceding a goal 5 minutes before half-time.
Up goes Walker. Gascoigne. Way over the top. Spurs shortly to bring on a substitute, or rather Forest are shortly to bring on a substitute themselves. In the meantime, Steve Sutton with the goal kick for Forest. That falls for Gascoigne. Headed by Lee Chapman.
Since I left Forest, Brian, I think it was 8 years ago, the personnel has certainly changed in the team, but the style of play of Brian Clough hasn't at all. Just looking down at 1 or 2 of the players here, I remember when I was there, I think they were apprentices at the time, Steve Hodge and Steve Sutton, and also for Spurs, Chris Fairclough was also apprentice as well.
Nigel Clough wasn't even a pro then, was he?
No, Nigel used to come on away trips. His father used to invite him on away trips, used to carry his coat and his bag for him on the coach.
Well, now very often he carries the front line, but it's back to the Spurs goalkeeper, Torsvett. Nigel Clough is the scorer of 1 of the goals today. Gary Parker the other, putting Forest into a 2-goal lead before Chris Waddle hit back. And here's Waddle on the ball again now for Tottenham. Oh, a lovely run by Waddle. Walker's getting across there and puts it behind for the corner. Great play again by Waddle, but equally some splendid defending again by Des Walker. Corner for Tottenham. Fairclough's gone forward and then has checked himself. Mabbutt, though, has gone forward. Fairclough back to look after Franz Carr, should that be needed. Waddle in the meantime with the corner for Tottenham. Gascoigne. Stopped by Laws. Fairclough battling, and Walker went in strongly there, and I think maybe badly injured there, because Fairclough was aware that it was a clash and it was nobody to blame there. And judging by the urgent waving from some of the players who are standing over Des Walker, might need something more than just the trainer. It was quite a clash there, but 2 players honestly going for the ball. Former teammates, of course, former pair of central defenders under Brian Clough at Nottingham Forest. Chris Fairclough now with Tottenham and Des Walker. Looked quite a nasty challenge there, didn't it, Trevor?
Yes. Nothing intentional, though, Brian.
No.
Both of them went for the ball, and this Des Walker has obviously come off worse. I wonder if he'll be fit for Wednesday, Brian.
Could be its cup game, Nottingham Forest against QPR. Well, it looks like he's coming okay. Well, he injured his back on Tuesday night against Chelsea in the Simod Cup. And he's okay now, though. Corner already taken. But, I think that will have to be taken again, because the physio was still on the pitch, giving some Tottenham treatment, I think. It's a throw, which Mabbutt will take. In a moment, I'm going to ask Trevor Francis to start thinking about his man of the match. Maybe you'd like to do that at home as well, see whether your view agrees with his. Fennick playing it in. Fouls. It's on the back cross there. Oh, and a miscue. Bergson. Paul Allen trying to get it across, and it goes into the side netting, but first off Stuart Pearce, and so it's another Tottenham corner. with about 11 minutes to go. Waddle with the corner for Tottenham. Still Spurs 1, Nottingham Forest 2. Poor corner. Cleared by Webb. Abbott can throw quite a good long one, as you can see. Goes Wilson, but misses it. Fairclough trying to go in, Butters trying to go in, but Forest get it away to Franz Carr. Now they could be on the break. The red shirts are streaming forward for them, but last pass won't really reach Chapman. And Gascoigne now can bring it away for Tottenham. Howells. What a good ball. Laws to Carr. Backing off him and then choosing just the right moment to get in with his challenge. Paul Allen playing it forward again for David Howells. Comes for Stewart. Waddle's up there too. Gascoigne on the far side. Spurs looking for this equaliser. Waddle playing it in. And I think Walker will have to go off. He's in such agony there. In the meantime, Clough plays it away sensibly into touch because he knows that Walker can't go on. And it'll be Steve Chettle who comes on as a substitute for Nottingham Forest. He looks to be in a lot of trouble. He's had a terrific game, Des Walker. So he'll go, and Steve Chettle, who's had some hamstring trouble and has missed 3 games, comes on. Oh, 5, I beg your pardon, 5 games. Balancing, but gets it back safely to Sutton. Inside the last 10 minutes now. Hodge catching Chapman offside. Don't tell me who your man of the match is, Trevor, but who's in the frame at the moment? 2 or 3?
Yes, there are 2 or 3. 1 or 2 of the Forest players have impressed me very much today. Brian Laws at right back. It's the first time I've seen him, and looked very good.
In the meantime, it's Lee Chapman for Forest.
Steve Hodge has done well, and Gary Parker on the left there. At the Spurs, Chris Waddle's done exceptionally well. But I should delay it again for another 5 minutes.
Okay. Webb. It's a goal kick. Spurs getting to the point in this game now where they need to risk everything now to pull this goal back. Butters bringing it forward for them. Waddle, it's the man they've got to feed. Allen running into trouble. Parker bringing it away. Suddenly Forrester through and free. No, delayed it too long, and Paul Allen, who'd lost the ball in the first place, gets back. Gascoigne couldn't control it. Far now. Nigel Clough. That's a lovely ball now for Brian Laws. And the cross doesn't bother the keeper. It's a goal.
I think if Forest had been more clinical when they got to within 30 yards of goal, the game would have been all over by now, Brian.
Particularly in that first quarter of an hour when they had 2 or 3 really gilt-edged chances. McNabbott now for Tottenham. Webb. I think the time's coming, Trevor, for you to name the man of the match. Who's it going to be?
Well, you asked me to name a few names, but really there's been no doubt in my mind at all, and my man of the match goes to Chris Waddle. He's been outstanding today.
Chris Waddle, man of the match. at the moment on the losing side. Certainly Spurs have always seemed to have the better chance when he's had the ball at his feet, and of course it was a stunning header by him right on half-time that brought his team back into this game, but they're still a goal down. Fouls. Here's Waddle. Bergson. Cross and a goal.
After 34 minutes, when Forest went 2-0 up, there were a few heads could possibly have dropped, but I think it was down to Chris Waddle showing the inspiration from midfield there. It kept Spurs going, and he's brought them back into this game in the second half. Without him, they might have been dead and buried.
Sutton then with the goal kick for Nottingham Forest. Clough to Gascoigne, trying to leave Hodge, shielding it well from Hodge and gets away from him. Finds Waddle. Plenty of red shirts are back there though, guarding that Nottingham Forest goal. Waddle again. And the free kick just as Gascoigne was about to pull the trigger. Let's see what they can do from here. Gascoigne and Waddle behind it. Gascoigne curling it. Sutton collecting. Now Webb. Playing it for Laws. Carr won't get to that one. Carr. Out of play. Throw given to Tottenham. Gascoigne takes it. Gets it back. Now Carr. Curled in towards Chapman. All fours now for Waddle. Touch for Gascoigne. There's a running battle there with Hodge. Gascoigne already in the book. Hodge, I fancy, is going to join him. Physically holding back Gascoigne. Yellow card for Steve Hodge. Chris Waddle with the free kick. Spurs have pushed everybody except their goalkeeper now into a forward position, seeking to snatch an equaliser in the last moments of this game. Nigel Clough gets it away for Nottingham Forest. Inside the last 3 minutes. Refuse to accept that the championship race is over by a long way. They're still in the FA Cup, where they play Leeds United, still in the Littlewoods Cup, where they play Queen's Park Rangers, still in the Simod Cup, where they play Ipswich. There's still a lot going for Forest, but now they have to defend as Gascoigne brings it forward. Bergson on the far side, and Howes is in there! No! Kicked off the line by Chettle, the substitute. Waddle bringing it in again. Forest at full stretch there, and aren't out of it yet. Although Pearce gets that one away very well indeed for Forest. But here come Tottenham again. No, the flag is up on the far side. Clash maybe between the two players over there. Lee Chapman was one. And good piece of defending there. goes on with one of the Spurs players on the far side off and getting treatment. With 2 minutes to go now to the end of this game. Waddle with the free kick. It was Gascoigne who was down injured, but he's okay. Chapman getting back to help defend. Navidoo got up well. But behind for the goal kick to Nottingham Forest. Needing just to defend firmly for the next 2 minutes or so to register their 5th successive victory. Spurs throw. What's going to be done now needs to be done quickly. Gascoigne on his way. Fairclough. Flick. George battling away to keep it. Ball comes through to Clough, but there was an infringement there, so Spurs get another free kick. Waddle's the man behind it. The white shirts are streaming forward looking for this equaliser. Easy for Gascoigne. Paul Allen on the far side. A slip at the most inopportune moment, providing Forest with a goal kick and relief. As we come to time added on.
Brian, this late revival from Spurs has coincided with the introduction of Paul Gascoigne. I just wonder what would have happened if he'd been on perhaps half an hour earlier.
It was so touch and go, apparently, whether he would start. He came through a fitness test very strongly this morning, but they decided not to risk him for the full 90 minutes. But you're quite right, with the arrival of Gascoigne, Spurs' chances improve. But now Forest need to remain firm just for a few more seconds. Chettle's header. Webb. No Laws. Oh, a miscue. What a moment to do that. Abbott playing it to Bergson on the far side. They've left him free. Wilson there. Neatly getting it away, though, for Nottingham Forest. It's not over yet. Bergson crossing it in again, and he goes behind for the corner. Right at the end of this game. Spurs will want to take it fairly quickly. Time not added on for the taking of corners. Waddle will take it. Spurs have pushed everybody into that Forest penalty area now. It curls in there, Stewart with a header, and it goes behind for the goal kick. Wilson performed well as a centre-back this afternoon. Torsvedt had that really torrid first half. He's looked a little more settled in the second. Waddle. A few whistles from the Forest fans are here. Spurs coming forward again. Butters, well, they need to get it forward quickly in these last few seconds. It's too late. The 90 minutes are up, and Forest have won it. 5 successive wins now for Brian Clough's men. They move to 6th place in the table, and in this topsy-turvy season, anything is still possible for them in terms of the championship. More misery for Spurs, though, following after that cup defeat by Bradford. Parker putting Forest ahead. Clough adding the second just a minute later, and then Chris Waddle, number 9, our man of the match, bringing Spurs into the game right on half-time. In a moment, let's hope we've got an interview down on the pitch with Neil Webb and Martin Tyler.
Neil, you've hardly had time to reflect on the game, obviously, but a very satisfying 5th win in a row for Forest.
Yeah, we're in a good run at the moment. I thought we played exceptionally well first half, but I think the second half died a bit as a spectator's point of view. But we've come here to London, we've got 3 points which we needed, and we're happy about that.
It's a little nervy right at the end when Steve Chettle got one off the line for you.
Yeah, we're a bit heart-stopping there, but we defended well in the second half, and that's what counts, so we're very pleased.
What's the secret? Because Trevor Francis has been saying in the commentary it's the same shape of Forest as it was when he was a player with the club.
Yeah, I don't think it's changed for about 20, 25 years, the shape of the team. We always play with 2 wide men, 2 in midfield and 2 up front. And good trip anyway. You know, we've done it over the years. The gaffer's always taught simple football and pass it to the nearest man that's available, and that's what we do.
Arsenal had a good day yesterday, but do you think you're still in the race?
Got to say we are, haven't we, really? I mean, we've got to keep Arsenal on their toes.
Well done, Neil. Thanks very much indeed. Let's go back to Elton.
Thanks, Martin. No one can seize the championship in January. We're an average of just over 3 goals per game in the 10 First Division matches this weekend. We could have had so many, many more today. Well, after the break, more views from the dressing room. We'll be back. Well, George Graham and Arsenal have got to worry a little bit more about Nottingham Forest and Spurs after that 2-1 win for Forest at White Hart Lane this afternoon. Let's just have a look at the top of the First Division. Forest now into 6th place, 12 points behind the leaders. And in the bottom half, Spurs in 14th place now, and funnily enough, that they look to be in a little bit of trouble because their next 2 games are away to Middlesbrough and Manchester United. But at least they've got the consolation of having the man of the match this afternoon. That's Chris Waddle, who gets a bottle of champagne and a cheque for charity, £250. Now, we promised you an interview with Ray Clements at half-time. We couldn't make it then, but we can now. Here he is with Martin Tyler.
Ray, obviously we're talking to you because you're involved in coaching the goalkeepers here now, and Eric Tortsvet played his first game today, and I suppose in the end it's turned out to be one that he'd rather forget.
Well, probably, yes. I mean, it was always going to be a big ordeal for him, the first Norwegian player to come into this country and play at this sort of pressure. Disappointing for him at the end of the day because of the mistake that happened cost us the game at the end of the day. But apart from that, it was a test of his character second half, and I think everybody here will be pleased with his character. He made some good saves in the second half. He didn't let that mistake get on top of him and make more mistakes. So from that point of view, it was good.
Well, obviously the mistake is the key thing. It turned out to be the winning goal, and here we can look at it now. What do you think went through his mind? Well,
I think that as Cloughie hit it, he hit it from a fair distance. He saw it all away, and I think actually he took his eye off it right at the last minute, probably thinking it was going to be an easier save than it actually was, and there was more pace on it than he anticipated, and probably thinking that he could save it and deliver the ball, because as we've seen this afternoon, he does like to deliver the ball very quickly when he does get it, and I think that was the situation.
Another thing that the crowd really liked was the way he came off his line to claim balls almost Bruce Grobbelaar style.
Well, he's 6'4", so he's got a chance over everybody else anyway, and he does love to do that, and on the couple of occasions that he's come out today, he's been strong and he's kept hold of balls under quite strong challenge, so that's good as well.
OK, Ray, before you go, will you take this in for Chris Waddle? He's the man of the match.
I'll take it in for him, but I think he'll probably save it for a different result than today.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks very much indeed, Martin. You might have gathered there that we're going to have a quick word with Trevor Francis now. Trevor, your afterthoughts on the match. Obviously, Forest very worthy winners in the end, don't you think?
Yes, I think so. They'd have been disappointed if they'd not won it because they carved out enough chances in the first half. But I'd like to compliment whoever chose this game because it was certainly an entertaining game. I think with Brian Clough and Terry Venables as the 2 managers, you're always going to get entertaining football.
Now, a quick word. You've got to play Forest now in the Littlewoods Cup. How do you go about planning to beat a side who are obviously so confident they've won 5 on the run?
Well, they are obviously a very good team, but I would like to think that you know, we're not going to give them as much space as what Spurs did. We've got some very good players, and apart from the defeat yesterday, we've only lost 1 in our last 10 games, so we're in good form ourselves.
Trevor, thanks very much indeed. Just let me tell you that the next football on ITV is on Midweek Sports Special on Wednesday, highlights of those Littlewoods Cup quarter-finals. And then next Sunday, the match comes from the Den. 2 of the unlikely lads, if you like, but going very well in the First Division this season, Millwall and Norwich. That's the match next Sunday on ITV, Millwall against Norwich, kick-off 3 o'clock. And, of course, a very exciting snooker final coming up on ITV between Doug Mountjoy and Wayne Jones, the Mercantile Credit. So a super day of sport here on ITV. From all of us at White Hart Lane, bye-bye to you.